Hey Cavs, I'm Laura Fodovich and this is the Cav Report. In honor of the events that took place on September 11th, 2001, we sent Malik to find out more.
In remembrance of the events that took place on September 11th, 2001, we talked to students about what they were doing when the historic moment happened.
I had just gone into my office and the receptionist told me that a plane had crashed into one of the Twin Towers. I managed to leave the office and find the television, and at that point I got to watch, unfortunately, the rest of it, including the second plane which hit the remaining tower.
Actually, I was in bed, and my mom ran downstairs and woke me up and said, "You have to watch this, it's a national history." Yeah. And then I went to school and didn't even have school because all we did was watch TV.
I think that class ended early that day. I remember my mother was really upset because she actually built commercial airliners, and she was one of the people that actually would build the type of plane that went down. So whenever something like that happened, there was a huge panic about it.
We also asked if they knew someone that was personally affected and what 9/11 means to them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have two friends from college, both of whom lost children in the World Trade Center incident. One of them worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, and the other worked for another firm but happened to be in the building.
We need to be better to each other, stop insulting each other, and we need to actually just buckle down and figure things out.
I would say it's a day for us to remember all of those that we've lost and to continue to protect ourselves and hopefully move forward.
To me, 9/11 was this, severe tragedy that just shook everybody, and it affected people in ways that people don't really think of. There were a lot of people that not only lost their lives but were injured, and then people who still suffer today from backlash of it. And I don't think we'll ever be the same, but I think that it's something that we can learn from and something that we can move on from.
For JCAV TV, I'm Malik Hall.
At the Student Welcome Desk, located in the Student Center building, they are offering deals on off-campus events like Schlitterbahn, the Renaissance Festival, and Worlds of Fun. Prices range from $10 to $30 depending on the event. No refunds or exchanges are allowed. Other events include Sporting KC, Cocoa Keys, as well as the Joe Bus Pass. Information can be found online at the JCCC website or at the Student Welcome Desk. If you ever have questions or need to report sexual misconduct on campus, the Sexual Assault Resource Team is here to help. Malik was there to find out more.
The Sexual Assault Resource Team held an event in the Comm Plaza to spread awareness about sexual misconduct on campus.
So we're out here with the Sexual Assault Resource Team. We've got a few things going on, just doing some outreach to students. We have a fun little wheel game that you can play, ask questions about consent, sexual assault. We also have personal safety inventory for students to take to kind of test their knowledge on safety. And then we have a social media campaign that we're doing, I Stand Against Sexual Assault Because, and folks can write that, and we're going to post it on the JCC Student Life page. We want to make sure that we're able to give support to students so that they're able to be successful in all their goals here at JCCC.
We also talked to Officer Dan Robles for how to report misconduct on campus.
Well, the Sexual Assault Resource Team, the event we're having today, what we want people to know is they can go ahead and report incidents that they have that happens to them, that they see happen, and regardless of where it happens, as long as it gets reported. If it doesn't happen here on campus, at least we can get them to the right direction of proper authorities, assistance, help they may need. If it happens here on campus, we have a lot of things that we can do. Counselors, literature, resource team, police department, a lot of different avenues they can go to try to help people out if they had something happen to them that has to do with sexual assault. Well, you can dial a couple different numbers. If something happens, you can just dial our 913-469-2500. That's the police department here. And then if you have an emergency, 4111, and non-emergency, 4112.
For JCAV TV, I'm Malik Hall.
In the Comm Plaza, JCCC held its semi-annual Clubs and Organizations Day, where students can get food, play games, and learn about the different clubs and organizations held around campus. Students also got to talk with club members and student leaders to learn more on how to become more involved. For more information about joining an organization, students can check out the JCCC website or visit the Student Activity Center. The United States Secretary of Education came to campus to see what JCCC has to offer. Here's the story. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos paid a visit to JCCC to see firsthand what a community college has to offer. She was accompanied by College President Joe Sopcich and several members of the local press. She visited many sites on campus, including the Nurse Sim Lab, the Automotive Technology Center, and the Culinary Arts Building. Later during her visit, she took time out from her tour to talk with students and answer questions.
I have met so many wonderful students today alone, and it's just, for me, it is really inspiring to hear their individual stories and to have once again confirmed that every single student is special and unique, and we need to be focused on ensuring that they have the opportunity to develop themselves to their fullest potential. Right.
While the college offered Secretary DeVos a memorable experience, her visit was met with controversy. Protesters lined up outside the college in response to her policies on educational reform.
We need to get our strong education back, and that's one of the things that I'm very, very concerned about, because we're not going to keep people coming to Kansas if we don't have education, and she is one who is not supporting public education at all.
Just so that people can see that there are actually people that support our schools and support our teachers, and that we care about them, and that we don't stand for it.
For JCAV TV, I'm Laura Fodovich. Looking for a place to get a drink or fill up your water bottle? There are a number of hydration stations located across campus. As an initiative to reduce the use of plastic water bottles, these hydration stations are beneficial to the environment. You can find these stations in buildings across campus. You can check the JCCC website for their locations. JCCC history professors held a discussion about Confederate statues for students and faculty in the collab. Here's the story.
Student and faculty members gathered in the collab to hear a discussion about Confederate monuments and statues. We also talked to history professor Jim Likert to find out what they discussed.
Today, 3 of my colleagues joined me in a panel discussion about recent controversies related to the removals of Confederate monuments and controversies that have erupted over the usage of the Confederate flag. So what we talked about today, I gave a very broad overview of what historians agree the causes of the Civil War were. I talked about the lost cause, which is the term that describes the way the history of the war was rewritten in the early 20th century, and talked about the proliferation of when these monuments were built in the early 1900s. My colleague Ben Clark talked about the usage of the Confederate flag through the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, particularly as a reaction to the Black Civil Rights Movement. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, the rebel flag really makes its appearance for the first time in the 1950s as a symbol of white resistance to efforts to attain black equality.
We also talked to history professor Ty Edwards.
And then I ended with, the real problem is unfortunately a lot of people don't know the difference between historical study and symbols of history, like mascots, like Confederate memorials. And if we could do a better job of educating people on historical events and history in general, then these symbols would have less power and might be less controversial, because we'd have more general knowledge about these topics.
For JCAV TV, I'm Kayla McCoy Hollinger.
Local police departments from across Kansas City gathered at Johnson County Community College for its semi-annual Public Safety Day. Law enforcement agencies were there to talk with students and show off some of the equipment they use for their job. Well, that does it for this news break. This has been Laura Fodovich signing off.